Hey all, this is Whitney, registered dietitian. Today I'm going to be going over your diet after weight loss surgery. So this presentation is for anyone who has had bariatric surgery or plans to have bariatric surgery. So this is kind of a snapshot of what to expect in your diet phases and beyond. Before you begin, please watch your nutrition basics slideshow. I want you to have a general understanding of macronutrients and calories before you start to apply any of this information. So it's important to understand basic nutrition concepts before you apply any of this that's in this slideshow or in your manual. This slideshow does not take place of the diet manual you've been provided, so you will be following that to get more detail on what to do after surgery. So please refer to the education provided by our office for detailed post-op diet instructions. Your long-term nutrition goals. So this is going to vary from program to program. So if you see numbers that look a little off from this one, they're generally the same. We just have our own specific recommendations. So your calories after surgery are going to be somewhere around 1,000. So this might vary depending on your level of activity, where you are in your post-op journey. So you can always reassess and meet with me to see if you are right on track with your calories in that first year after surgery. Protein is going to be a star player after surgery. So protein is going to help your healing process. It's going to support your metabolism, help to maintain your lean mass or your muscle. So protein is going to be very important to meet those needs exactly. Carbs, you're going to be less than 100 grams per day. This is generally not something hard due to the fact that protein is so prioritized after surgery. There's not much room for carbs, but nonetheless, 100 grams or less a day. Fats, you want to remain below 30 grams per day. We'll talk about the types of fats, but again, this is better addressed in your nutrition basics slideshow so that you understand what fats we're talking about. Fluids, the recommendations for fluids are a minimum of 64 ounces per day. If you're a highly active person, if you sweat a lot, if you're doing a lot of workouts, you may require more, but 64 ounces is your long-term need. So you're not going to be meeting these goals immediately post-op. We do hope that you are getting somewhere close to this, at least for the protein intake, by the end of your post-op diet phases, recovery phases. And that's somewhere a little over a month or two. So tracking your foods is the best way to ensure that you're staying within these recommendations. These numbers really don't mean anything unless you know where you currently stand. So it's very important to begin logging way before you even have surgery, just getting into that habit and knowing how to reassess. So your diet phases post-op. First, you've got phase 1, which is clear liquids, phase 2, full liquids, phase 3, pureed, and phase 4, soft to regular. So we'll describe the next one, those coming up. Okay, diet phases post-op. Follow the diet phases as instructed. So do not advance any stages early. Follow the recommendations. I can't stress that enough. We really want to protect the healing process and avoid any complications or intolerances. Just like a newborn baby's tummy, we're going to graduate you slowly through texture, density, volume, all of that. So take it slow. You want to map out your post-op diet phases in your own calendar using the day of your surgery. So if your surgery is on the 24th, then get a blank calendar out, go to the 24th, put day 0, and then use that snapshot calendar you've been provided by myself and kind of map out your own diet phases according to those days. If you have any questions at all, or if you need help planning, you can always reach out to our office or me. Day 0 through 4. So day 0 is going to be your day of surgery. You're going to be in clear liquids for 4 days. Examples of clear liquids include water or flavored water. You can do protein waters or even make your own or buy pre-bottled versions in the store. Broths, apple juice with no sugar added, sugar-free Jell-O, sugar-free popsicles. You can make your own protein popsicles, get creative with fluids and protein at the same time. And then you've got sugar-free sports drinks. So major tips here, you want to sip, sip, sip all day long. So you will realize that you cannot gulp anything. So from the time your feet hit the floor in the morning until you go to bed, you want to sip on fluids to prevent dehydration. A good goal is to aim for about 4 ounces per hour. So it will do you well to have some pre-measured tools at home to fill up to a 4 ounce, and just know that you've got to complete that in 1 hour. Day 5 through 13 is going to be your full liquids. Your full liquids are going to be liquids that you cannot see through. So clear liquids are going to be transparent. You can see through them if you hold them up to the light. Full liquids, you cannot. They are opaque. They're going to be a little bit more calorie dense, and they're going to contain more protein. So protein shakes would be acceptable. Protein drinks that you mix on your own. Greek yogurts, a cream of wheat, thin grits, fat-free soups that are strained. You want to strain any soups, making sure there's no chunks. Same thing with your yogurts. And then fat-free puddings or tomato juice. But you may want to cut the tomato juice if you're feeling like you have a lot of signs of acid reflux, or if you're getting a lot of burning right here at all, then you want to avoid the tomato juice due to the acidity. Tips here, you're going to gradually increase your meals to half a cup to 3/4 of a cup. So we're kind of increasing size there. Staying hydrated is definitely a goal. It's always going to be a goal. And then bariatric multivitamin will start on day 7. So that's a good thing to put in your calendar, is day 7, start multivitamins. You'll receive those recommendations from me in one of your last meetings. And you can also get samples from our office. Day 14 through 27 will be pureed. A lot of people say, oh gosh, I'm not looking forward to this phase, but by the end of your full liquids phase, I promise you, you will be ready for pureed. So now we're kind of introducing thicker textures here, blended food. So you can use baby food or pouches if you want to. Pureed scrambled eggs, cottage cheese, or other soft cheeses like ricotta. Yogurts or blended fruits, pureed chicken or tuna or other meats. Smoothies, you've got smoothie guides from me that you can start to implement right here. Mashed beans, pureed oatmeal. So those are just a few examples, but this is a good time to start experimenting with some of your bariatric recipes that you find online or in your cookbooks. You're going to be in this phase for 14 days. So it's nice if you have an appetite and you have a good taste for things, then you should experiment a little bit. So some of these foods you might want to continue having even beyond this phase. You never know. So tips here, you want to make sure that you have protein with each meal. A good tip is to make sure you know what is a good amount of protein to aim for at each meal. So you might not be up to that 100 grams a day, but you could at least shoot for 60, 70 maybe, and split that up into multiple meals throughout the day. Your serving size here is a half cup to 3/4 of a cup. Same thing as your full liquids. And then you want to practice eating slowly. So this is the time where you're actually taking bites of things with utensils. So practice the small utensils and really tiny bites. And the important part here is going to be putting time in between your bites to make sure you are going to tolerate that particular food very well. So a good thing also, you want to try one new thing at a time. So give it a day. I would introduce one new thing every other day or something. So definitely not mixing things bite by bite. Day 28 through 56, soft to regular. So on day 28, you'll start soft, and then by day 56, you will hopefully be into most regular foods. So this is going to last about 28 days. Soft cooked vegetables, fish, deli meat, ground meats, which are moist, tofu, Greek yogurt. You're going to see here that these are things that are going to be easily mashed with a fork. So if you have to cut it with a fork and knife, this is probably not a good idea to introduce this at this time. If you have to chew it 40, 50 times in order to get it to mush, that's also probably not a good time to introduce any of those foods. So you want them to be super moist, very soft, and then you can kind of start experimenting with more foods in this phase. I will say that the first 3 months are probably going to be a huge trial and error period for you, not to scare you by any means, but just be ready for, maybe one day you might not tolerate this food, and then 2 days later, you're absolutely fine with it. So I just want to put that out there. Tips here, you want moist meats and food. So one kind of catch-22 we have here is we want you to focus on lean meats that are not fatty, but when we go in that direction, we tend to have less moisture. So you want to make sure you are familiar with some cooking methods. We'll talk about that in the office if you want to, or over our phone conversations, or in one of our meetings. But serving sizes are going to be around 1 cup per meal. So this is never really going to exceed this size. 1 cup for each meal. Let's think about that. 5 to 6 meals a day. That's appropriate. That's going to be an appropriate size if we're doing the amount of meals that we really should be having. And then again, you're going to focus on protein and hydration. Protein, and hydrate. So those are always the 2 focuses. All right, and in summary, things to remember. Protein. You're always going to hear me say protein a lot. So you want to aim for about 15 to 20 grams of protein with each food choice or meal time. If you multiply, let's say 15 times 5, that's 75 grams of protein in a day. So that's the minimum. So you should be getting at least 15 grams of protein per meal. And that's 5 different meals a day. So it's easy when you break it down in that way. Add protein powder to foods if you need to. So say you're in pureed and you like applesauce. Well, add some protein powder to your applesauce, and tasteless protein powder, and you can make it into a protein food. Sip all day, stay hydrated. Watch the sugar. You want to aim for less than 5 grams of added sugar per serving and less than 15 grams of total sugar per serving. You've got ways to learn how to identify that and learn how to see that on a label in your information that you've gotten from me in office. So please refer to the education provided by our office for detailed post-op diet instructions. This will not serve as your complete guide. Just remember that. So hopefully you got some things from this. Good luck on your journey, and let me know if you need anything at all.